Hi, I'm Holly.
And I'm Charisse.
And welcome to the Ask Mom series on when to date. It's no secret that teenagers are becoming more and more intimate as time goes on at a younger age. And, you know, the current statistic is that if you're, I think it's 15 and older in high school, 15 to 18 in high school, that 50% of your peers are having sex. That's a lot. That's half.
That's higher than when it was in my school. Although, I think a lot of times we didn't hear about it.
Well, I'm sure.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure. And I wouldn't say that, I guess by the time I was a senior in high school, probably I knew a lot of people who were having sex or who had had sex. Not like everybody was having it all the time, but it was definitely happening. But I guess that statistic can be looked at in two ways. It can be, oh my gosh, half my peers are having sex, or it could be, oh my gosh, half my peers are choosing not to have sex.
Right.
And so sometimes a girl will think, well, there's something wrong with me because I haven't had sex yet. And I mean, I knew girls in high school that felt like I have to lose my virginity before I leave high school because otherwise something's wrong with me. And something is not wrong with you. You're a smart girl.
There are plenty of the guys out there that would love to take that on.
Well, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you.
And the fact that you made it to your senior year and you've been able to guard your body is, frankly, it's a blessing. Because I'm sure those 4 years feel like forever to a teenager. But they are such a small, minuscule part of your life. And like we've said before on other dating videos and stuff like that, are you going to marry that guy?
Right.
No, you're not. You're not marrying that guy. It is like less than 1% chance you're probably going to marry that guy.
But I think girls feel like that they will.
Oh yeah, it's forever.
Do you know what I mean?
Most
like,
teenage girls think this is probably the forever one.
This is the guy. This is the right guy. Oh yeah, totally the right guy.
Yeah.
And I tell my daughter, I've signed my name with the boys I dated.
Oh yeah. Oh, me too.
And then in 2 years it's another name that I'm signing.
Or in 3 months.
You know what I mean? And so it's not, in reality, you ask most women that are married, that wasn't their husband, is not their first boyfriend ever. And so if you're in a relationship at 14 years old, 13 years old, and you really like this boy and you think this is it, this is the one I'm going to marry, in reality, chances are it's not going to be like that. So
and if it
enjoy it, that's fun. It's fun to fantasize that and to think about that. But you know what? It's most likely not going to happen like that. It doesn't happen like that.
Right. And even if that boy is the boy you're going to marry, all the more reason to be guarding and protecting your body. I mean, what's the harm then in saying, we have a lot to learn about each other other than, all about our sexuality. It's high school and you can get pregnant and you can, it's real. And
there's a TV show about it.
I have lots of girls that email me and I think I'm pregnant or I am pregnant and I'm 15 and I'm 16 and I was in love with him. And, you allow yourself to do things in the moment, not thinking about your future, which is why, when we're talking about your periods, what do we always talk about? Be prepared. Have things in your backpack. That means you're ready for if it happens. And it's the same thing with your sexuality. If you decide not to make decisions about who you're going to be sexually and you just wait for the wave of emotions to guide you, you can really end up in situations that you really wish you weren't in. And they can be deadly if you get diseases. They can be emotionally scarring if somebody takes advantage of you and, you can end up pregnant. So, I mean, there's so many things that can happen and it shouldn't be a big fear thing. It should just be something that you've really thought through, that you've really given a lot of attention to. And gosh, God bless you if you can talk to a parent about it.
And if 50% of your peers are having it, then just have your boyfriend choose one of those girls. Save yourself. Save yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing is I think sometimes girls don't really understand the progression of intimacy when you're with a boy.
And what would that look like, Holly?
So, I mean, I think what girls usually imagine is that they like somebody and you hold hands and you spend time talking and you go out on a date and, You know, that sort of thing. And so girls, I think that way. I wonder what it's like to be kissed. I wonder what it's like to have his arms around me, hugging me. I wonder what it's like to have him hold my hand or to put his arm around me in the movies. And that's kind of where most girls emotionally sort of stop, somewhere in there. And with a boy, they are already many steps ahead of you.
What are you going to make them for lunch after they have sex with you? Many steps.
Yeah. And so I think girls, and maybe this is so basic none of you need to hear this, but I think it's just worth saying it. So if you're holding hands with a boy, they're imagining that you're going to be okay with them, with you kissing them. You know, with whatever, pet kiss, whatever. And as soon as you pet kiss, they're going to assume that you're ready to French kiss them. And as soon as you French kiss them, they're assuming that you're ready for them to touch you. And as soon as they touch you, they assume that you're okay with your clothes off. And as soon as you have your clothes off, they assume you're ready to have sex with them. And so this progression can happen in one night, and this progression can happen over a number of months. But this is the reality of dating somebody, and this is what he's thinking. He's not thinking it stops here and it ends here. He's assuming it goes somewhere else, and part of that is the way boys were designed, right? I mean, Charisse and I happen to be Christians, and so, you know, we believe God...
We don't just happen.
We are Christians, and so so we believe God designed men and women, and we believe that they were designed with a specific purpose, and that men were designed to have the mentality of populating the earth. And so if they didn't have the drive that they had, then there would be far less people on this earth if it were left up to women. And so it's not like a bad thing that a guy's wired to be interested and to find you desirable and to want to be with you. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
But it is something that he needs to be taught self-control. In our culture, they haven't, a lot of boys aren't taught that that's something that they need to control. They're just taught, be safe, be careful, you know, respect a girl. But maybe they're not taught even respect a girl, or what does it look like to be safe, or what does it look like to respect her. And I'm not talking safe like even with condoms. I'm just talking about not allowing yourself into situations. And for a lot of parents, that's a really difficult conversation to have with their kids. Mm-hmm. So you need to know where a boy's mind is coming from, so that when you're making decisions for yourself, you can make good decisions. And if you allow yourself to be in a private setting, which this is all a part of dating, right? Mm-hmm. If you allow yourself to be in a private setting, alone with him for long periods of time in places where no one's going to enter the room, then you're setting yourself up for more than you probably bargained for. Because as soon as that whole progression that we talked about starts to happen, in the moment, I guarantee you, you're just probably going to be thinking, this feels really good and I don't really want this to end. Mm-hmm. And it's not ever going to be, probably, until after it stops, at whatever point it stops, that you're going to look back and feel shame or guilt or wish it hadn't gone that far or whatever. And so that's why we talk about having those boundaries set in your head and deciding it's not going to go beyond those boundaries. And honestly, if you're dating someone, the longer you date them, the further those boundaries are going to be pushed out. And so it's something to think about. How long do I date boys? Do I need to date boys exclusively? Could it just be that we date, you know, here and there, and you date other boys too? You don't need to date a boy for 6 months, break up, and then date another boy. It's okay just to date.
Right.
Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's okay just to say, oh, well, I went out with him this weekend, and that was fun, and we had a great time, and now I'm going out with this other guy this weekend, or I met another guy or whatever, and just say, I'm not allowed to exclusively date people. I mean, it's a line you could use and just say, I'm just not really, my parents don't really allow me to do that. And that keeps you from having to be every weekend, oh, we went a little further, and every weekend, well, we went a little further. And honestly, a lot of teenage boys, they don't really need to be alone with you, even for things to happen.
But I think you said something a long time ago about what you actually, like, just verbally told a boy. If you're looking to have sex with me, I'm not the girl for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to... Like, if you're clear about your boundaries and you can express that to them,
yeah,
then they know where you stand.
And if you don't feel comfortable saying that to him, and you're going to allow it to keep progressing each week, you need not to be dating at all. Because if you can't speak what you feel is safe for you and your body, then you're not ready to be dating somebody. You need to be able to communicate that to the person that you're allowing to play with your heart. And so...
And this isn't just for teenagers. This
No.
goes up to women that are our age, too.
And
that are, like, single and dating.
Absolutely. And when you're in college, I mean,
worse.
there's no one to watch you, and you have every opportunity. Plus, there's, more and more substance abuse that goes on when you get into college. And so you're navigating substance abuse issues along with the whole desire that we're born with. Right. And you're having to manage both. And it's really a hard thing. Mm-hmm. And so those boundaries become more and more important as you get older. And so you really have to think about that. Even the nicest guy that you know, he's still thinking that. So this isn't like, the big jock who's dated every girl in school. We're not just talking about that guy. It's even the very nicest boy in school. That's what he's thinking in his head. He's thinking, she's really pretty. I really like her. I wonder what it's like to be with her naked. It's just the honest truth.
And the other thing is I think if you give yourself to a boy like that, I mean, it's such an intimate part that that boys don't mind sharing with other boys. And
no, it's not private between the two of you just because.
Right. And so if you're comfortable letting everybody else know about it, then great.
Yeah.
But just so you know, it might not just be kept quiet between you and him.
Right. So I think it's good practice to go to the dances and be with your friends and decide how comfortable you are with close contact with boys. Mm-hmm. I think that's all good practice. But then narrowing that down to, we're going to go into a big dark room and watch a movie that maybe no one's really interested in watching, that feels too vulnerable to me. Mm-hmm. It feels like things could happen there. I mean, unless I'm allowed to go. Can I sit in the back of the theater? Great, I'll bring you guys. I'd like to sit in the back of the theater, please. I think that's probably what would happen in 9th grade. And then in 10th, it's like, well, you're going to be driving. I mean, I can't exactly guard every situation you're going to be in once you have the freedom to drive. So you need to start working on that. And certainly I want them to have lots of experiences of what it's like to be with boys. Around boys, not with.
Right.
But around boys by the time they go off to college, because I don't want them navigating that on their own without any experience whatsoever. I mean, to me, that's very scary.
And especially, like you said, when there's substances there that, whether it's alcohol or drugs, boy, you throw that into it and your whole mind gets lost.
And that's one of the things in high school, too,
That's where your boundaries get very fuzzy.
And that happens in high school, too. Mm-hmm.